What is up, YouTube? I'm Galadate74 here, bringing you guys our draft analysis for our first league of the spring season. And this league is going to be APM's Fun League. This time we are doing the Ubers format. This is going to be my fourth time uploading APM on the channel, so we do like it over here quite a bit. I was a part of Fun League last time it came around, and a little bit of a flex at the bottom right of your screen there. We are the defending champion. We did win the last Fun League. It was lower tiers format at that time, and we had a really baller squad. And it was the final game I played in Generation 7 was in APM's Fun League, and we won the championship, of course. So hopefully we can try and repeat in this new format that I've never tried out before. Never done Ubers before in draft overall. There are 12 teams in this league, again, like there was last time. The teams are on screen, and god damn it, Austrian George is in this league this time around. If you guys don't know who Austrian George is, he was our first ever finals opponent ever, and we lost to him. And in a season where he was just doing amazing in. So, big props to him. He's a really good battler, and that is looking very scary for this season. We do have some friendly faces here. Lou, Puffer, Haunch, and a few other names are here, as well as some new faces like Aeromoth and Flame, who I've never fought before. So it's going to be interesting. We have a nice unique blend overall. This is a 10-week season, so that's how long the season will be. And we have unique rules for this Fun League. I'm going to go over them real quick. We have Megas, Z-Moves, and Dynamax. The way it works is that you can really only bring one mechanic per game in the battle. So let's say, for example, I draft Mega Sceptile, Magnezone with a Z Crystal, and Dynamax Go-Go. If I can bring all three to a battle, but if Sceptile Mega Evolves, I can't use the Z move and I can't Dynamax Go-Go. And the same happens with the other mechanics as well. There's a few other rules that apply to this as well, but I'm not going to get into all that. But that is the unique thing about this league. It's pretty fun, it's kind of wacky, but honestly, it's Fun League. It's not supposed to be the most serious thing. However, you know me, I'm going to sweat a lot in this league. That is basically a rundown of the league overall, though. The team I drafted is absolutely fire, and that's what we're going to jump into now. So without further ado, here is my APM Ubers draft analysis. To start us off, we were 5th of 12th overall for the draft order, which isn't bad. We were kind of smack in the middle, which, could be worse, could be better. I wasn't too upset about it. I just didn't want first overall, which we didn't get, which was great. Our budget was 150 points for 8 to 12 mons, which is insane. I decided to pick up 10 mons because that's how many I picked up in the last Fun League, so I decided to stick to it again. So my thought process here is that there's a lot of Ubers around, but one thing I do love is fire types. You guys know all I've been drafting recently is high tier fire types, and I wanted to try one out. There isn't a crazy amount of high tier Uber fire types, but there is one that sticks out that I think is personally really good, especially this generation. It is Ho-Oh. Our Uber we drafted for this draft is Ho-Oh. My first ever time using it, obviously, and I love this thing so much. It's got a great typing in Fire and Flying, which is two typings I'm a big fan of. It has Regenerator, which is one of the best abilities in the entire game. And this generation, it gets access to Heavy Duty Boots, which negates any rocks damage. So even if I was taking it, I could A, get regen back if I want to, or B, just rock on boots and then I don't take rocks damage. The great thing about Ho-Oh that I really wanted to see in my Uber is it can give me both offensive utility and defensive utility. It has 130 attack, which is really good, and 150 force but def, which is just insane, along with a really high HP stat. So it gives me a lot of ways I can use this. I can do multiple roles with this mon all in one, which is great. It has great utility. It has a bunch of status moves, Whirlwind's nice, recovery, all that good stuff makes Ho-Oh really fantastic overall. And it doesn't have a single bad stat. Even 90 defense is pretty solid overall for a mon like this. And just a mon that gives me a lot of different options for my Uber is something that is just fantastic to start off with at the draft. So I'm really excited to use Ho-Oh, and that was our the fifth overall pick and our first pick in this draft. Next up is going to be a mon that doesn't really impress me on paper, but I have gotten smacked by it way too many times. I think I'm 0-8 against this mon, like the worst matchup ever, which is really weird, and I've seen it put in a lot of successful work. What I picked up second in this draft will be Mega Scizor. Mega Scizor is a really interesting pick here. My fire weakness on this mon is patched up by Ho-Oh because Ho-Oh can touch up on fire types pretty well, so that's pretty cool there. Using Gliscopod and PTO and a few other leagues using mons has taught me that having good priority is really important on the team. And priority bullet punch on a mon like Mega Scizor is really good priority to begin with right here. Mega Scizor can do a bunch of things. It's a great pivot overall because it has U-turn. And just like Ho-Oh, and a big reason I wanted to draft it is that this can also be offensive or defensive. So my opponent might not know I could bring a defensive Ho and an offensive Scizor, or vice versa. It can do all those types of things as well. As a fantastic typing, Bug and Steel is pretty good overall, especially defensively. I think it's really good. 150 attack is nothing to sneeze at, and all that good stuff. And again, the being able to be defensive or offensive is absolutely fantastic. And I also have it that this is a defogger that is not weak to rocks, which is something that I'm always a big fan of overall. So again, a little bit skeptical about this pick overall because I've never used Mega Scizor to too much success. I used it like in game before, but never in draft. But hopefully it does a lot of work. I have a good feeling about it, but we're going to see how it goes. And that is my second pick in this draft. And to pair with my second pick overall, I have another Mon that on paper that does not look too fantastic, but I know again that it can put in so much work in a battle. It is OU's staple of this generation, Clefable. I have picked up Clefable for the first time. The third Mon, I haven't used any of these Mons in draft yet. The main reason I picked it up was A, it has Stealth Rocks, which is something I really wanted, and B, it gives me another pivot because now this thing has Teleport, which is just a broken pivot move if you use it correctly. This is a really pivot-heavy team so far, but there's a big reason for that. It's mainly to support my fifth pick overall, as I'll get into a little bit later. But Clefable also gives me two fantastic abilities, Magic Guard and Unaware. Unaware makes it so I cannot be too punished if I'm playing a little bit too passive with my Mons, and Magic Guard stops my Clefable from being toxic and potentially becoming a late-game sweeper if I go that route. Clefable, again, its stats aren't fantastic, but I know that it's really good overall, and Fairy typing is a good defensive type. It is pure bulk on this team, and I don't really see Clefable being offensive too much, but you never know, Clefable offensively could be a thing. It does have Slate 4 moveset syndrome, but I'm going to try and make that work overall, and hopefully that won't be a problem throughout the season. But that is going to be my third pick. So far we have Ho-Oh, Mega Scizor, and Clefable. Really strong core overall, and I'm going to try and add on to that even more. I apologize to people watching this in the moment. I've said the word overall a billion times already. I'm going to try not to say it anymore. It's just implemented in my mind. But for my fourth pick, I was going to get Naganadel because I do love my grounded poison types, but someone's sniping ass had to take it right before me, so we picked up Latios. Latios is a Mon I have not used yet. I have used Latios and I did enjoy using it a lot. My team outside of ground move Ho-Oh can't really touch fire types up to this point, and I did need a dragon type to complete my Fairy Dragon Steel core I got going on here, so I felt like this was going to be the best fit for the team. Also, Latios has 110 base speed, and that was a speed that I really did need on this team, and I felt like that was going to be really good. It does really suck that we got sniped here by someone, but Jed, but it could be a lot worse overall. And Latios does still give me a few different options, and Dragon and Psychic are both really spammable types, which I am a big fan of. So that is going to be Latios, and that is our fourth pick in this draft. Now, our next pick is going to be a pretty big one. Now, you guys know me. I'm not a big-ass scumbag. I don't pick up trapping and then stall like Gothitelle for 40 turns straight. But I am a scumbag, and I did pick up the other trapper still available. I picked up Dugtrio for my fifth pick. Trapping is met with me because I just use Magnezone in APM, and I'm going to be honest, Magnapool was pretty shit. However, Magnapool only does trap in steel types, as Arena Trap traps everything that is grounded, basically, which is a lot more busted than the Magnapool overall. Ground typing is something I really needed on this team, and Dugtrio does give me that. The big thing about Dugtrio is that I feel like it's going to pair really well with Mega Scizor, as Dugtrio can trap and kill the fire and steel types that roam around my opponent's team, and that opens up Mega Scizor a lot in a lot of different scenarios. So if I can get Dugtrio to work like that, I feel like I'm going to have a lot of success. Plus, it's trapping. It's kind of scummy, but hey, we're going to take it. It's a really good speed tier at 120, something I needed, and I think it's going to be really good on this team. So that is going to be our fifth pick, Dugtrio. And our sixth pick is going to be Seismitoad. It is the Toad. It is another ground type on the team, but it's okay because it is very different than Dugtrio. It does very different roles. Seismitoad is more defensive, while Dugtrio just traps and it has no bulk whatsoever. It is another rocker, so it doesn't force Clefable to run rocks every week, or Dugtrio in that sense. It pairs really well with my Grass Killers and Mega Scizor and Ho-Oh, so I don't really have to worry about the grass weakness too much. And then stuff like Knockoff and Water Absorb are really good assets to have. One more thing I want to mention is that on the side there you see that this is actually my Dynamax captain. This is eligible to Dynamax if I do not run an item on it per week. This wasn't supposed to be the Dynamax captain originally. I had a plan to make something else it, but the way the point system works is that only Mons that have 5 points and below can Dynamax, which in this case Seismitoad is 5 points for some reason. And I was going to draft another 5-pointer, but the way the points worked is that I didn't see any purpose in it. So I decided just to make Seismitoad the Dynamax captain. Plus, realistically, I always see myself bringing Mega Scizor or my Z Crystal user, which is going to be my next Mon. So I do not see Dynamax being too much of an option for me this season, but at least it is here. So that is going to be Seismitoad, my 6th pick in the draft, and we're going to move on to my 7th pick, which is my Z captain. And my Z captain is going to be Xurkitree. Xurkitree is actually the first and only Mon on this entire draft that I've actually used before. A later Mon that I picked, I did draft, but I actually never used it. So this is one of the Mons I have experience with. I drafted it because I was planning on giving this thing Z, which I did, and Xurkitree with the Z move is really good, I think at least. I do want to mention that Hidden Power is allowed in this league, by the way, so Xurkitree isn't completely neutered right there, because it does like to have Hidden Power a lot. But I did see the Latios there, and I thought about putting a Z on it, but I felt like Latios can still do a lot without Z, while Xurkitree without Z it's still good, but it's not like nearly as good, to be honest. And Xurkitree can do a bunch of things with it. It can boost its speed, which is really important, by either setting up Terrain, Rain, or putting your opponent to sleep with Hypnosis. So it has 3 different options there. 173 attack is nothing to laugh at whatsoever. And Z Electric plus Tail Glow, if you don't have a ground type or an electric immunity, something on the field will die to that move. So if they let me get a Tail Glow up, it's basically pick 'em on the sack. After losing my bulky Spadef Mega Venusaur to this thing one time, I will never underestimate this thing again. It is very strong, and Electric is a really good spammable type. Finally, it is a really good Scarf Mon. 83 is a good Scarf range, which I always like to have something in that range of speed tiers, and it's something I needed so far. So that is going to be Xurkitree on the team. I'm really excited to use this. I really do love this Mon a lot. It's not the greatest electric in the entire world, but I personally enjoy it. And that is the 7th Mon on this team. We have 3 picks remaining in this draft, and this was the last pick I had that I was certain I was going to pick up this certain Mon. For my last 2 picks, it was just like, oh, what do I draft next? At least with this, I knew I was going to be picking it up. This was the Mon that I had drafted but never used before. It is Cofagrigus. I did draft this Mon for 2 different reasons. One of them I will not say because it will come up at a certain time and a certain battle, and that will not be mentioned. But the other reason I drafted it is because it has the ability Mummy. Mummy is great because some Ubers do like their abilities. A great example is Galarian Darmanitan or Naganadel, for example. Both like their abilities a lot, and if they make contact with me, they will lose their ability and get Mummy, which not neuters them, but definitely hinders them to the point where Cofagrigus can take advantage of them, which is pretty cool overall. I think that was really solid to have. Finally, it is a solid wall, a bulky ghost on both sides. It has decent Spadef as well, which is a really nice asset to have. It's a Trick Room option, even though my team doesn't really care about Trick Room, and T-Spikes. I'm a big fan of hazards outside of rocks, and having another option in T-Spikes and Cofagrigus will be really nice. I could definitely see myself bringing that one week. I did decide to make Seismitoad my D-Max captain over Cofagrigus because at least Seismitoad, it can set up the rain with Max Geyser and be Swift Swim and be offensive potentially. I don't think offensive Toad is that great, to be honest, but at least it's the option there. Offensive Cofagrigus isn't that great either, but I do have multiple options on this Cofagrigus to be a solid wall overall. So that is going to be Cofagrigus on the team. It is my 8th pick, and we have 2 more to go. And one of those 2 last picks is going to be Weavile. Weavile I had a hard time deciding on what I wanted to pick up, but we decided for this in the end. I did have Sneasel in the lower tiers of the Fun League last time, and now this time I have Weavile to fulfill the role that Sneasel did for this season. I personally don't think Weavile has the greatest spot on this team, as there's already a great amount of physical attackers like Ho-Oh, Mega Scizor, and Dugtrio. But Ice and Dark typing, honestly, is just a stupid good typing. I can guarantee you there will be a matchup where Ice and Dark is just too good to the point where Weavile has to come, and it will claim a bunch of kills. I really feel like that will happen. Knockoff is an incredible move to have, and it's one of the best knockoff users in the game. Finally, as 125 speed, it is my fastest Mon on this team, so hopefully that will play a role sometime too. By the way, I said it's just me. I didn't have any help drafting this team whatsoever, but we do have Weavile on the team, and it is my 9th pick, and we only have 1 more pick left. As for our 10th and final pick in this draft, it was really tough to decide on what I was going to choose here, but I did settle on a Pokemon. It is Shaman. It was always going to be either Shaman or Virizion. I will compare and contrast them real quick. Virizion can Dynamax is the reason I was thinking about it so much, and it is a fighting type, which my team does kind of lack, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I don't think fighting types are essential, but they are nice to have. The reason I went Shaman, though, is because A, Shaman has 100 speed over the 108, and actually 100 is a better speed tier to hit on my team just because of how the speed tiers work here. B, it is an Earthquake switch-in. While Verzion can be an Earthquake switch-in, its defense is sort of lacking, so something like a really strong Bandit Earthquake, Verzion doesn't really like as opposed to Shaman. And then finally, Shaman doesn't really need to boost to be offensive. Verzion has 90 on both attack and attack, while Shaman has 100, and Shaman has Siege Flare, which is a really good move that has a 40% chance to lower your opponent's Spadef by 2 stages. If you get a Spadef drop by 2 stages, you can kill them with basically any attack next time around, as long as you're hitting them neutrally. And that is a really good asset to have overall. And then it has Natural Cure as well, which is a great ability. I don't see myself bringing Shaman every week, but if my opponent has a really strong ground type and I don't have an immediate way to deal with it, Shaman could be a really good way to deal with that. And that is Shaman's role on this team, and that is the squad we have for APM Uber's Fun League. So yeah, I am a really big fan of this team. I am going to quickly run down what it consists of again. My team for this APM Uber's League is going to be Ho-Oh, Mega Scizor, Clefable, Latios, Dugtrio, Seismitoad that can Dynamax, Xurkitree with Z-moves, Cofagrigus, Weavile, and Shaman. I personally love this team. I already like it more than my Season 3 team of the APM. I'm glad I did not get caught up in the bulky mindset that I had with that and everything having to be bulky, so I am pretty proud of myself for that. I am going to post the schedule on screen now. It is a pretty tough schedule. We do have a bunch of fun opponents that we're going up against. Quickly reading them off, we have Lou, George, Jabel, Aramoth, Flame, Enrique, Haunch, Jed, Lord of the Acorn, and Puffer. So again, it's going to be a very fun season. We do face Lou next week, so that will be our first opponent. I might upload 2 APM games next week, as I want to be, instead of holding a battle for a whole week, I can only hold it for like a few days and upload it on Tuesday or Monday, depending on how I'm feeling. So I might upload that. It won't be this week because I do have, a reminder, PTL Finals going up on Saturday, so I definitely can't upload 2 APM games this week. So I'm really excited for that, and that's just a reminder for you guys to check that out. But that is basically going to wrap it up for this video. If you guys are excited to see Ho-Oh put in action, make sure to leave a like. If you have any comments about this team, I would like to hear about it in the comment section below. And yeah, that's basically going to wrap it up for this video. Thank you guys for watching so much. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you like Pokemon Draft League content, consider subscribing to the channel. I'm gonna head out of here. Have a fantastic day, YouTube.